death to Kronos. I'll see to that. No one is more prepared. Beyond the mists of Erebus, there should be a way down. Too risky heading through Elysium, and too risky to stay. All right, it's time.
Hello? Hello everybody. Welcome back to another CreamCatCorner stream. So, we're back again with more Hades 2. So last week to be exact, we played a little bit of this game because we just finished one run of Dome Keeper, and I decided I wanted to try this game. I have bought this game on the day it was released to be exact, but I did not play it because the spec given was way too overpowered for my PC. But I think it was last week that there was is it last week or last 2 weeks? There was an update, and I decided to, hey, maybe I should try it first and see how bad it is. And turns out I can play it. So yeah, this is the game. Hades 2.
Get out your magic back.
So yeah, last time we let me introduce everyone. So this is Odysseus and this is Nemesis. So last time we did manage to defeat Hecate, the three-faced god, I assume.
This cauldron's filthy still, alas. But there's something at our altar you may use, and I've unsealed the silver pool as well.
Yeah, I've defeated her, and then I got overwhelmed in the ocean anus part of the biome. So yeah, this time we are gonna try something.
Headmistress lent me
Do
the
we have
Arcana.
any? No, we don't have anything. Okay, that's something that I need to.
The silver pool.
Sister Blades, Umbral Flame, Moonstone Axe. Ooh. We can't go up. Oh, interesting.
Find the Titan, slay the Titan.
So does that mean we can go
Flame
out?
sigil.
Ooh.
I thought the fire goddess never got involved. In the name of Hades, Olympus, I accept this message.
Well, look at
Whoa.
you, hot stuff. Come to help the elderly. Oh, what a good girl you are. And here I was, just about to burn this whole blasted place to the ground myself. Now, here's a little warm-up for ya.
Man, the character design is always cool. Her hair looks like flames and smoke. Look at the top of her head. Can I do this? No, I can't. Okay, whatever. And also, I think she has vitiligo. Interesting. It looks like a suit. Interesting. Have a very interesting character to have this kind of design. Ooh. Oh god. Okay. Wait a moment. My microphone decided to act up. Okay, there we go. Okay, so Hearthgane is epic. Smoldering. So we have 30 health, which is not a lot. Magic Restoration. I feel like that's good. But I don't know whether or not I should take it. Especially with my low health. You know what? YOLO.
All of you gather round. Couldn't do it.
Oh, nice. Okay, that means I can spam magic much more frequently.
Within mist-shrouded labyrinthine Erebus lie countless souls of the dead, awaiting judgment that shall never come.
They'll be judged soon enough. Need to recharge.
Okay, interesting. So we have the binding circle to help control the crowd. Okay, interesting. Okay, so I forgot. What do we need again? Do we need bones? Yeah, you know what? Let's go to the bones.
You wretches.
Oh! No!
More. Always need bones, just not precisely now.
Bones. Okay, wait. Coins or heart? We have 50 coins. You know what? Let's go. At least when we see Karen, we might have. Woo! What the? Oh my god.
Right now.
Interesting. Ooh. Hello. What is this?
Spinning goes the thread.
Spiders.
Warp and weft.
Trigger warning to anyone that is afraid of spiders.
And again.
Arachne?
Die the. Oh!
Hello?
What are doing here? Besides tramping all over my webs,
Oh,
that is.
she's
It's
cute.
nothing, silly. I can always make more perfectly good silk. I can't always see you.
Oh my god, she's cute. Look at her character.
Hi, Arachne. Sorry about all this. I think we'll soon be seeing more of one another now. My task has begun.
I wonder what is the interactions gonna be when you see Athena. Because as far as I remember from Greek mythology, it was Athena that turned her into a spider because she was challenged due to how good of a spinstress Arachne is. Ooh.
Truly. Why then, I'll get out of your hair. You have to go. But first, you have to try on one of these. And don't worry about any wear and tear. I've plenty more in stock.
Oh my god. Holy crap. Whoa. What is this? Armor? We have armor? Oh, not just the enemy. Now we have armor for ourselves as well. Ooh. Wait. You know what? I'm gonna get the lavender dress. It has the lowest armor, but we do channel 40% faster.
Do you like it?
Oh no. Okay, wait.
Why, this is beautiful, thank you.
Woven with care.
Oh no.
This one again.
Oh no. Oh! Come on. Run.
It's no use.
How dare you hurt me with my
What's another glade?
armor?
Hear me, on my authority.
Ooh. Okay, so what is Scorch? Scorch is curse. Afflicted foes take 40 damage accrued from this every 1 second. Oh. So it is epic, so I'm gonna choose that.
That almost...
The ever-restless shades of Erebus find little peace there, save for the prickly embrace of the gnarled branches of those writhing woods.
Am I fighting the spirits or the woods?
Ooh. Ooh. Nah, nothing. Ooh, a hammer. Daedalus hammer. Okay, wait. What's up with the health bar?
Damn it.
Okay,
Daedalus
interesting.
hammer.
Ooh, okay, wait. You can channel 30 magic into your Omega special to deal 300% damage in a larger area. Ooh, okay, wait. I'm not confident with these two, the Giga Moonburst or the Etheric Moonburst. I'm not sure it's either one of those. So I'm gonna choose the extending one.
Such secrets in this stuff.
Secrets. Secrets. Nice.
Ash of the Dead.
Ooh, pomegranate. Let's go. I can take pomegranate. Come on, man. What? Okay. Okay, so when I lose my armor, I guess it is lost for forever. Oh, come on. Okay, we can't survive with just our armor then. That sucks. Bones or green juice? Where are you? Okay, there we go. Okay, so the gameplay is a little bit different, I have to admit. Needs some getting used to.
Lord Chiron, I've returned.
Ooh! I can recover my armor. Okay, let's go with the pomegranate. You know what? Fine, I'll take this.
You really have to pay that Heron character in these situations. What sort of daft system is that? What, no blessings for the poor? Doesn't seem fair at all.
Okay, interesting, Hestia. What is this? Fire extinguisher. Foes with at least 300 scorch damage take a burst of that consume the effect. Okay. I'm not sure which one is better. Is it smoldering or fire extinguisher? I'm not sure I will take the glowing coal because why would I want to projectile through my binding circle? I'm gonna go with fire extinguisher. Let's see how it goes.
Yes, my lord. I met Apollo, Grandmother, Uncle Poseidon. I've known Artemis and Hermes for so long. I'm impressed they kept my secret from the others all this time.
I can do this.
Greetings, witch. You surpassed me before, yet I wonder, was it your mastery over our craft? Or did the fates themselves perhaps provide a little nudge?
Come, headmistress. If I could be provoked that easily, I'd stand no chance at all. Not even if the fates desired otherwise.
Good fortune seldom comes to those in no position to receive it. Show me your victory was no mere accident.
Okay, then our fighting words.
Not now.
Oh god, okay, wait. Woo! Uh-oh. Arise, sisters. Oh, okay, not. What is this? Ah! Oh, what? How did you hit me, sir? Oh, madam, I should say. Okay, this one.
How did that miss?
Woo! Okay, so I need to dodge that shit. Ah! What? Okay. Sorry for screaming there. Ah! Woo! Okay. Nice.
Impressive show of force. Hold nothing back as you continue on.
Thank goodness that we didn't lose our
Return to Shadow now.
Return to
I've
Shadow
learned.
now. I am so thankful we didn't lose our armor
Cinder.
because I am gonna need it when I'm going down here. Woo! Okay, do you have anything to say? No, nothing. Okay, interesting. Oh, hello?
Is that?
A word, if you please. Pray, who might you be, my girl? And what compelled you to wander in and out of Erebus?
Hello? Who are you? Are you a boss fight? Oh no.
I'm not your.
Oh
So
fuck.
it
Okay, sorry.
seems. You appear to be quite pressed for time. Forgive this old man his transgressions.
Sorry about that. Oh god.
Couldn't have been.
Wait, there's this. I'm not your girl, old man. My name and business are not your concern. Okay. Sorry for skipping that. Oh god, I was trying to put down the controller for story time.
The air's thick.
Look who.
Oh no,
Oh, no.
who are you? Bitch, who are you?
You're a long way from the crossroads, Trouble. So, this is where the real action is, huh? Weren't you supposed to still be practicing?
Things
Ares?
took a turn, Eris. You know how it goes. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some urgent business to attend to.
Always in such a rush. I'd really hate to slow you down. Though, let's hang out sometime, okay? Have a great night. Oh, one last thing.
What did she do to me?
What? What did you do to me? Ares? Your foes deal 20% damage. This grow each encounter, bitch. Oh, you asshole. Okay. Okay, this is gonna be. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Can't do it.
Oh, what? No. Stop spinning.
Olympus.
Grandmother, help me.
I was certain you were gone. Scarce born, only to be taken by Kronos, along with my
Kronos.
daughter and those nearest her. But the Witch of the Crossroads got you out of there, did she? How could she not send word?
Ooh, grandmother's angry. Okay, wait. Local climate, frigid sprint. man, we don't have any magic. Oh no. Hello, Vigor. Hello, hello. How are you? Hades 2, let's go. I know, right? I did play it a little bit last week, but this is gonna be my full stream with this game. So I'm not sure which one to choose. The Frigid Sprint seems nice.
Life or death.
Ooh, Aphrodite or Poseidon. Okay. I don't remember. Have we seen Aphrodite before? You know what? Let's see. Ah! What the? Okay. What the? Oh!
Return to shadow now.
Aris, you bastard. You download a game on your phone. Ooh, what kind of game?
Phrynos, you there?
Rhinos. Let's confide.
You know what they say, Phrynos. Failure is the greatest instructor
Roblox?
of all.
Ooh, I've heard about Roblox before and it's quite popular in my country, but I've never played it before.
Who dares?
I want to say that the game is too Gen Alpha for me.
A scourge upon your bloodline for resummoning me, witch!
Hey, everything okay there, Mel?
Dora. Is this supposed to be Pandora? The first woman created by the gods? Is that it? Roblox is basically a game with 10k plus games in it. I know. I've seen my niece my cousin's children, I should say, played it, and yeah, I want to say I am way out of loop with that kind of things. So yeah, especially since it is like a multiplayer lobby that you can invite your friends and have a chat and hang out. You found a game that you like playing in it called The Tower Heroes, which is fun. Ooh. Care to describe? What is it?
Oh, yes, Dora. It's just... I should have gone farther that time. I'll give more notes on your haunting later, alright?
Melanie seems so sullen.
Oh,
What is this?
This memory of all you lost. It stokes your want for vengeance
Oh
even
man,
now.
I want to see what happened to our mother and the rest, Zagreus and Hades. Ooh, we can use the
Cauldron's ready for
cauldron.
me now.
at least our cauldron's finally purified, praise the fates. Speaking of which, are you as yet considering an invocation to them? I have my doubts that they would listen even now.
If there's any chance the three fates shall aid us, I'll take it. Thank you for preparing things for me. Though I'm well short of freshly picked reagents still.
I'd offer such reagents if I could, but as you venture past this glade, look carefully along your path and you shall find them. Fate's willing.
Yes, headmistress.
So, you just protect an area from the enemies by putting different towers down. Ooh, a tower defense game. Interesting, interesting. Oh, hello?
Last night I dreamt of this.
Oh, okay. There's there's a farming game in this game. Interesting, interesting. Knight's Craftwork. bones. You know what? Let's summon the Ratchet Broker.
I'm ready. By blood and darkness,
Woo.
let my will be done.
It's my title. By blood and
Broker,
darkness.
welcome to the crossroads.
Hello. I did not expect she would chant a magic spell. But then again, it makes sense, huh? Okay, so the last time by blood and darkness, does it repeat? Let's try it again.
Dark of chaos, light of moon, heed now my will.
Ooh,
So
different.
mote it be.
So mote it be. Okay,
It is done.
different spells, I guess. Interesting.
Great tree of life, please listen to my thoughts.
Your intent was true.
Flourishing soil.
Nightshade seeds.
After ever-scheming Kronos claimed the House of Hades, shades of the dead residing there, all scattered to the ends of the earth.
You shades are welcome here and safe.
Interesting.
Hail, broker.
Ooh, what is fate fabric? Fate fabric. Okay. Seems like important, and I don't encounter that in the wild.
Farewell.
Interesting.
Still at it?
The few towers and what they do, and tell you how strong they sounds to me. Ooh, yes, sure.
You passed her little test that time. Must have felt so good beating her ass to the ground. Don't get to spar with her, so I can only imagine.
We're not just sparring. You don't know our craft.
Ooh,
I know I could take her.
Melanoe, you sounded so gatekeepy. Interesting.
Odysseus out checking on reports.
Ooh, what is this?
How fare my favorite hound and polecat friends? You'll flourish here.
Okay, don't have any. Hypnos.
May you have pleasant dreams. The altar of ashes.
Oh wait, do we have any? Oh, we have a lot. Okay, let's see. We have the Huntress, the Titan, ooh, or the Swift Runner. Let's go with the Titan.
The Titan.
Ooh, Eternity, set forth each night with one more death defiance. Okay, I'm definitely gonna take that.
Eternity.
Holy crap, that's some more. Okay, interesting. And what is this? After 5 location, gain 3 hearts and 3 magic. Activate cards that use 1 through 5. Do we have any? 1, 2. Oh, okay, interesting. Oh, okay. But how? How are you supposed to do that? We only have maximum of 10.
Ready.
Okay, there we go. 50 health.
There's something new here.
Crescent Pig. Gather valuable silver and more. Prioritize to manifest more outcroppings.
The crescent pig. Reveal to me the bounties of the earth.
A trusty tool indeed. Ah, there she is again. at
Calamius.
last. I understand you ventured to the bottom of the sea. I too have been there in those depths, young one. But once, a while back, and briefly, I might add.
Of course. You were a famous mariner in your mortal days. But then you finally met your end beneath the waters upon which you sailed?
Nah, 'twas way more glorious than that.
The
Interesting, Skelly.
Crossroads training grounds are watched over by fearless seafarer Skelemius, famed in death as he was famed in life.
We cannot fail with such a genius on our side.
Interesting. I'm curious as to what the spot is gonna be. Interesting, interesting. The chef, he is a melee tower that just smashes enemies with his cooking tools and deals a lot of damage. The mana for chef 110 to put him down, 1000 for level 2, 2200 for level 3, and 3700 for level 4, and 6000 for level 5. Sounds powerful, but I don't think it's powerful enough. That's just my opinion, I guess. Sounds so and so. Sounds kind of mid, to be honest.
This is my path. The heart sigil.
Oh
There's some
my
more
god,
silver I
yes,
can
we
use.
do. We haven't seen her. Okay, Aphrodite.
Doubtless this one knows hatred, not just love. In the name of Hades, Olympus, I accept this message.
Why, hello, Horus. You look like you can break some hearts even without my aid. Oh, your brother would be so proud, knowing you're fighting for your kin.
Aphrodite, what the heck? You just have some thigh highs and put some makeup on and some color? Okay, Aphrodite, okay. Okay, what is this? Close up damage plus 80%. Your attacks deal more damage to nearby foes. One foe is always weak. You restore magic when weak foes are nearby. You know what? I'm gonna take Flutter Strike. Sounds powerful. You feel many people will simp Aphrodite? Well, that's what happened in Hades 1. So I'm assuming that this is the case with Hades 2 as well.
I've much to learn from her, I think.
Sounds okay-ish. I don't see the benefit yet, that is. Oh, okay, interesting. Ooh, okay, let's go see Apollo again.
Let's begin.
Nice.
Satisfactory.
Apollo.
She's up to something, but not even Athena knows what.
Athena.
This is all time
Athena
Olympus won't
mentioned.
fail, even if they've kept us occupied. What's his next move?
I miss Athena. Of all the things that I want to play in this game, I miss Athena the most. Light Smite. After you take damage, I can't speak. After you take damage, your foe take damage and inflict daze on all foes. You know what? Yeah. Oh, by the way, I just remembered something. How's your blood donation, Vigor? You said that on Monday you were gonna donate some blood, right? How are you recovering throughout the week? Lightheaded? You had any lightheadedness? Something like that? The next tower is the Scientist. It's a ranged tower with one of the highest range in the game, but it deals medium damage but has slow attack. But in level 4 and 5, damage get reduced, but attack speed goes from like 1 second to 0.2 second. Ooh. Okay, for me, I'm gonna take that tower, mostly because range attack is much preferred. Unless there's a tower that can block projectiles, then it's not gonna be good, huh?
Apollo's love.
Apollo's white. Okay, so let's go with bones. We do want to buy the fabric, right? Woo! Come on, man. I don't have anything that I want to upgrade just yet, so woo! Hello?
I know that voice.
Artemis?
Marked one for me, did you?
Hello, Artemis? Holy crap!
That ought to do it.
Good evening.
That's a model of her in the game?
The underworld of Hades holds more than the souls of the dead. Riches beyond imagination. Even the remains of the deathless titans.
They'll end up back where they belong.
Hello, Artemis. Hello, hello.
It's been too long, sister.
Oh,
Look at you
hello.
on your great hunt. Not ideal circumstances, but you've finally begun. Know that the family has your back, surprised as they are about this.
Okay, why does Artemis' hair seem so muted? I know this is early access, but I'm assuming this is not the final art then. But isn't her hair supposed to be much greener than that? Interesting. But overall, cool design though. Interesting,
No
interesting.
shortage lately of surprises on Olympus or below. It's good to see you, Artemis, but I must be off. Time's against us and all that.
Time's an old fool, too busy besieging the mountain of the gods to sense the threat headed his way. Go get him.
Oh,
blessings.
what is this? Foes with at least 80% health or 80% armor may take critical damage. After you dash, your Omega move deals more damage for 2 seconds. Or a random foe occasionally become mark. I'm gonna go with Silver Streak because it's rare. Mana for scientists is 250 to put it down. Okay, it's cheaper at least. Wait, it's a little bit expensive, okay. But much more manageable, I guess, in terms of everything else. Also, you did give your blood. That sounds so metal. Donated blood. You didn't feel dizzy at all, and also did your 3 days off from Monday to Wednesday to have 5 days without military. Ooh, nice. Well, I'm glad that you didn't had any adverse side effect or lightheadedness. And I'm assuming you have fully recovered then, since you're already back in the military, right?
My blessing is yours.
Ooh, Poseidon.
And your mark.
Good hunting.
Okay. I am gonna go to Poseidon then.
This again.
Oh! What? Okay, interesting. Come on, man. How often do you want to do this, sir? Nice.
Got you.
Heya's best hope for stopping Kronos was the second born of Hades and his queen, I said. Wait, who? So then they had a girl. The Titan must have struck your father's house right after you were born.
Poseidon. Okay, so your Omega cast immediately detonates or wave flourish that knocks foes away. You know what? Let's go with our special. We need to change up our playstyle to do something.
Silk cocoons. Arachne?
Oh! What? Wow, it's the last one. Interesting. Okay, you know what? Let's go with some hell. Interesting, interesting. You know what? Why not? Some more health. Ooh, Lemonade Cat. This tower deals no damage. Instead, it gives you mana at the end of each wave. If you are with others, it gives you 1% less mana per player. So you can give it to other players as well. Ooh. Oof, okay, interesting.
Pathetic.
Pathetic. I need a way to recover my mana. We're pathetic right now. Oh!
For me.
From me? Don't mind if I do. What is the green juice for? I should read that. Woo!
Onward.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Poseidon. I don't know. I feel like Poseidon is much better. Oh! No! Are you kidding?
It's Poseidon.
Oh, hello, what is this? Spirit Bubble. Don't mind if I do. I feel like that's much better, I guess. Karen!
Silver.
Ooh, Hestia. Oh no! Also Hammer, huh? You know what? I'm gonna go with Hestia.
That boatman's good at taking messages, isn't he? Almost like taking corpses down into the underworld like he used to. Nothing to do for those these days. Except...
Oh god, okay, sorry about that. I wanted to read your messages, Rigger. Okay. 200 to put it down, 900, and so forth. It's one of the cheapest tower. Okay, but it also doesn't have any offensive capability, right? It only gives you mana. Does it give you anything else? Or what is the maximum amount of towers that you can have per player? Because although it's cheap, it doesn't have any defensive or offensive capabilities. It just gives you resources, right? Okay, I am gonna get the... I don't want glowing coal, to be honest, so I'm gonna go with smoldering. And let's get some magic.
No
Karen.
Hermes yet, my lord. Forgive my impatience. I know infiltrating our enemy's ranks and discovering the details of his plans to conquer Olympus is sensitive work.
What? Sorry. Did you? Is the microphone not clear? Okay, sorry about that. What is the maximum amount of towers that you can have per player? Because it seems like the laminate cat doesn't have any offensive or defensive capabilities, which makes it not desirable. You can have 20 per player, but laminate cats you can only have up to 4. But 4 max level laminate cats give you 5,600 mana per wave. Okay, that sounds... Okay, then I guess it does have a good synergy with the scientist tower then. So I feel like it's good.
Of course, he'll be back any evening now, I'm sure.
Hermes. Oh god, I did not see the glowing point. There you are.
Olympus has emboldened you and made you strong. Yet 'tis a fleeting strength. One false step and I could wipe it all away.
I'll take a fleeting strength over no strength at all. We take every advantage that avails itself.
Just so. Then come and show me how you would make use of such advantages. The all-consuming flame.
Woo! Oh god, okay. What did you say? You old cahoots? Oh! I'm gonna die, isn't it? Oh god. I am so gonna die. Oh no! Oh! Okay. What happened? Oh, what the... Okay. Oh! Come on, man. How long? But it's kind of cute though. Turning into a sheep. Color of the lamb? Who? Oh, what the... Okay. I'm gonna die.
Splinter and fall.
Okay, bitch. Nice. Whew.
At ease. You have survived against me, and for that, you're owed a gift. May you learn well through it, Melanoi.
Oh,
The Book of Shadows.
the Book of Shadows.
Yes.
What is that? Oh. Oh, okay, interesting. Whalers. The Witch's Staff.
Some cinder.
Beneath the outer edge of Erebus extends a hidden region of the
Hello,
underworld,
Jake. Hello,
known only to
hello.
few
How are
and
you?
navigable
Good
only
day
by
to you as
fewer
well.
still.
Or should I say good night? Good evening.
Let's hope so.
How are you? How's your week? I hope you've been feeling well.
There you are.
There you are. Who is this
You have returned,
son of a bitch?
or lost your way, perhaps, in those interminable passageways beyond.
Is this Kronos? I feel like this is Kronos. Are you trying to intimidate me?
I know where I'm going. Whom do I address? And what are you doing here yourself in such a place?
My name and business are not your concern. Is that not what you said? Ah, the impertinence of the youth of this age.
Yep, it's definitely especially since she said something about old man or something like that. Interesting, interesting. Wait, that's Kronos. The next tower is Spectre. It also deals no damage, but increase all damage of all towers in its range. If it's level 3, it also makes upgrades more expensive. Ooh. Also has the special ability that when activated, it increases attack speed of all towers in range for 20 seconds. Okay, so that has a synergy with the scientist tower, right? Interesting, interesting. You're good, Jake. How was last week's stream? You missed cause you were doing some home reorganizing. Oh, okay. I want to say spring cleaning, but it's not spring, isn't it? For you guys, it's autumn. But what is season anymore, right? There's no season left, especially with global warming. Okay. Last week has been really fun. We played a little bit of played a lot of Dome Keeper. And then afterwards I decided to test out this game. And on Sunday we did play a lot of what is it? Dave the Diver, and there's a lot of story progression in that game. And I personally, my throat is in shamble every time I play that game because there's a lot of characters to voice in that game. I mean, the next time I played that game, I feel like I should just do Dave and some other notable characters that have a special voices. Otherwise, all other characters are gonna have to deal with my normal voices. Spectre is expensive though. 500 to put down. Ooh. 7,900 for max level. Ability needs 10k mana to do it. Oof. Yeah, that's gonna be the downside, huh? It's been bloody cold indeed, but you do love seasonal change. Too much of one temperature gets old. How lucky for you, Jake, huh? How lucky. But I do have to say though that the temperature in Malaysia itself has been getting a little bit less intense, It's still hot in some days, but in most days there's been overcast and it's been a lot cooler. But then again, all this rapid temperature change, and I do mean rapid because in the afternoon it is really hot, and then 2 hours later, it is like we have a heavy downpour of rain, and because of that, I have been my throat has been a little bit whack, I have to say, and I do have a little bit of ulcers going on with my mouth. So pardon me if am not speaking and slurring as I am talking in the stream. It's because I have a lot of not a lot. I just recovered from 2 ulcers and one just came out. Ah, what a fun time. And not to mention, I've been busy this past couple of weeks, this past 3 weeks to be exact. So yeah, so many things happening. So I'm a little bit all over the place, to be honest. It's been bloody cold indeed. You do love. Okay, wait, I've already read that. Sorry. Again, my brain is not that well calibrated.
That briny smell.
Okay, I was afraid.
No Eris, thank the gods.
Yes, thank God, no Ares. Ares, not Ares. Oh!
You'll regret this.
What? Okay.
You'll burn.
Ah! No!
You see?
Okay, Ocean Anus. Ocean Anus, okay. Okay, wait. I do want to see what is this. Mostly used to raise grabs. Oh, you can... Okay. So that you can activate more Arcana cards at once. Also obtained from trading. Also found using the Tablet of Peace on a Lost Shade. Okay, so I'm definitely gonna be upgrading my grasp. You need to stop, sir. Ooh. Oh, okay.
Water spout's activated.
What? Why do you push him out of the binding circle? Oh, what? Why is it locked?
Worth it to unseal another path.
Unseal? Oh no. Do I get any smog? No. It's not smog season. But if it's very dry, oh god, don't even start with smog, because certain time my neighboring countries might produce enough smoke that might blow into our country and cause worldwide not worldwide countrywide decrease in productivity, because we cannot go outdoors because the air particulate is not healthy for everyone. So yeah, there's that. Okay, Vigor. So the next is Slime King. Slime King doesn't deal damage. Instead, it summons slimes every 7 to 9 seconds. That when reaching enemies, they deal damage equal to their own health of that enemy. What? Oh, slimes never stop spawning unless Slime King is removed. Slime King also has a special abilities that summons the Slime King who has 7k health from level 3 slimes that cause burn to enemies. Rude neighbors are the worst. Well, to be fair, that hasn't been an occurrence this past few years, especially after COVID. There was a time, 2 years, I think it was 2018 or 2017, that has there's a major burning in the Indonesian plantation that caused a lot of smog in our country, that has been referred to as one of the intense smog that we have experienced in the recent history. But I think after COVID, there's haven't been any kind of occurrence happening. Maybe it's just lucky. I don't know. You can only have one Slime King, and the Slime King is one of the towers that had the longest time without any balance changes. Last balance change was in 2022. Ooh, very long time. Why do I feel like there's someone singing in the background?
Open up. Oh, great. For what you did to me.
Ooh. Apollo.
Let's see what's here.
Oh, shoot! Ooh, Karen. Karen's shop. You gotta go, Vigor? Okay, have a nice rest of your weekend, okay? Hestia. I'm gonna go with Hestia. Hestia is such a warm old lady. Nice.
One left. Olympus, I accept this message.
Ooh, okay. I do want to try Suit Sprint though. Your sprint destroys most range shots near you and inflicts scorch on foes that fired. Take care, Wiki Guide. But if you're getting sick of Dave the Diver but like the boat and sea aspect, you should check out a game called Dredge, More Freedom. Interestingly enough, I have been looking into the game as well, because there is a DLC in the game, Dave the Diver, called The Dredge. And it is a collaboration between those two games. I've been putting that game in my wish list. So when I had the funding to buy it, I will definitely be buying that game because it seems so cozy. I don't know. Based on the videos on Steam page that I see, it looks very cool, especially with the Cthulhu aspect. I think it was Cthulhu. It seems really cool though, so I will definitely be checking it out once I get the chance, that is.
Excellent.
Okay, so let's go get the hammer then. Oh!
Give up already.
Hello?
who you are. I know where you go.
You are definitely Kronos. With the watch motif, you shall not get there.
Magic. Kronos. I'll carve you limb from limb for this. For everything.
How frightening. Unfortunately, we shall never know if yours was a mere empty threat, for you are going on a little time out, at least until some other matters are resolved.
Give me the hammer, bitch.
No.
What the fuck? Okay, Asphodel. No! Please. I can't survive Asphodel without Athena.
You wish to traipse through this realm and here.
Just need to hit Will in the Swift.
I thought we don't see this level. Come on, man. What the? Okay. 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 Oh. Come on, man. Oh. I'm scared. Do we have to go to Asphodel next? What the? Okay. Oh, what? Okay. 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 I'm panicking. I'm panicking. I'm panicking. I'm panicking. Okay.
What's this?
Okay. 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 I am scared. Oh no. Okay. Your death strike hits a larger area, destroys 60% of any armor. Oof. Yeah, you know what? Armor is such a bane to my existence, so I'm gonna take that.
A sturdy staff indeed.
So this is the girl boss that replaced our boy Zagreus. You will not betray the bros no matter the size. I mean, she's a little bit different, I have to say.
It'll take more than that, Kronos. You ought to have stayed below.
Nice.
Stick to the seas next time.
Ooh, what is this? Your splash effect from Poseidon also inflicts slip. It's another curse. Ooh. What about double up? Whenever you claim rewards other than boon, hammer, or rare resources, a copy may appear. You know what? I'm gonna die, so might as well take double up.
Some limestone.
That which slithers, seeps, and crawls, all of it thrives within the foul air and crushing climate near the bottom of the sea.
The air is definitely stuffier down here. Farther than last time.
Is she a secret sister? I think not a secret. Based on what the lore that I have been uncovering throughout my playthrough, I think it was only our third playthrough of this run. From what I understand is that when we were a baby, we got our family got attacked by Kronos, and then we were taken away by the three-faced god or Hecate to go to Erebus, and that's it. I do not know anything about the lore besides that. Ah! Come on, man. I'm gonna die.
Vaporized.
We get it, you vape. Ah! Come on, man.
Why not?
Oh wait, I forgot about my suit sprints. Give me something good. What the? Okay, you know what? Fine, I'll take the bones. Is this Zagreus in drag? You will never forget the death for being cowards on Zagreus and Dusa. I mean, if you can choose between either Dummy Mommy or Emo Boy, I could see why some people want another third option, huh? Oof. Okay.
Some bones for later use.
Okay. Okay. Karen, please. I need some kebab or something. Come on, man. Okay. Armor. What the? Okay. You know what? I'm gonna die. I'm gonna spend all my money.
She's suggesting an exchange.
Ooh, Hearthgane. Okay. Hearthgane. Zagreus and Nyx should be the real deal. Foster mommy. Yo, Jake. Are you the type that types in stepmom in Pornhub or something like that? But then again, the what is this?
No way. Look at Gal's a lady. Ladies never come to see our shows. You must be different. What's your name? Oh, make yourself comfy. We're just about to start, aren't we, gals?
Holy crap! It sounds. She sounded Irish.
Sirens. I should have known you were the source of all
Oh.
that singing. Slinked down into the underworld, have you?
It's the perfect pressure down here. Beats the pressure trying to make art while all our fans are watching, begging, Skilla, where's your next song?
Skilla.
Don't you drown your so-called fans to death? Have you even got any left?
Oh, don't ever say such things about our fans. Oh, hey, gals, what say we give her the old song and dance? We're
Oh! Oh, okay. Fuck, okay. Oh! What the? Okay. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Why is the music so good? Oh! Oh, okay, interesting. We've beaten the percussionist and the guitarist. So now there's only the vocals. Oh no, please. Oh shoot, okay. Woo! Oh no, this. Ah! Oh fuck, okay.
Are you
Okay.
becoming used to this result?
Oh, shut up, you. Being groomed by an older
has it
woman is
been?
like a fantasy of 90% of boys during our teens. Maybe for you.
2, 1.
It is the dead of night within a haunted, barely moonlit thicket at the underworld's edge.
Hello?
There, a young forsaken princess hunts her prey.
Ready or not, hence I go.
Oh! Small Melanoe. Okay, Smallinoe. Hypnos, you've been asleep for a very long time.
I bid you farewell for now, Lord Hypnos.
What the okay, interesting.
Where could she be?
Hello?
The keen-eyed princess finds a set of tracks, suggesting that her foe trod through this dusty ground not very long before.
Shush, Homer.
Oh,
the
even
capture if you're going to
even
describe my
even
every
the
move.
character sprite is really cool looking. Interestingly enough, she doesn't have her ghostly arm. Interesting. What happened there, huh? What causes her to have such ghastly right arm? Is it right arm? No, left arm.
I've no idea to whom you refer, to whom the Princess of the Dead refers, as she continues on her fateful search.
Quit teasing me and help me look.
Homer. Oh! Homer Simpson.
You'll
Hello?
find her yet.
Odysseus, have you seen Hecate about?
Not in a little while, little goddess. Though I'd expect that
Would
pointy
bully.
hat of hers to give her away.
I'll look for it. Thank you.
Well, she's got to be around here somewhere, little goddess.
Ah!
Got you, Hecate. You're dead.
Got me, you did, Millenoi. But I dare say I can escape your clutches yet.
Hey!
No fair. Oh, good. She's a furry as well.
Hide from me.
Oh, there we go. There she is.
There you are. Got you again.
Ah, so persistent. Give up already, witch. For I'm a titaness. You cannot vanquish me.
I can and shall.
Oh, what? Oh, she's back. Okay.
I got you. Hecate? What's the matter?
It's merely that I've not heard your laughter before. Reminded me of your mother. A much preferable sound to that of grief.
I promise not to cry again. I still get sad sometimes, but not as much.
Do not make promises you cannot keep. When tears well up, let them spill forth. They're not so precious that they need be contained.
But you never cry, Hecate. And I wish to become strong like you. So that I might find Kronos and destroy him for what he's done. And then you could hear my mother's laugh again.
And I shall do everything in my power to prepare you, so that you may succeed where I failed. If not for your family's sake, then for your birthright, as the princess of the underworld.
Ooh, okay.
What do you mean you failed? You tried to beat Kronos yourself? He hurt you?
Concern yourself with your own pain, not mine. Destroying Kronos shall not change the past, and the pain shall linger, though assert itself less frequently with age. But enough of this. On the morrow, we shall teach you to hunt greater prey.
Truly? Death to Kronos.
One thing for sure, I feel like Persephone is gonna be throwing a fit whenever she find out that she lost another chance at raising her children. The first time is Zagreus, and now it happened again with Millenoi. Oh, Phrynos.
All my life I've prepared, and I'm nowhere near ready, am I?
Fear me.
Ever think maybe we're just not cut out for this, Mel? Me with the haunting, you with the... What are you trying to do again?
Find the Titan of Time. Punish him for his crimes against my family. Restore the rightful ruler of the underworld. Hey, you're cut out for haunting, Dora.
Oh, thanks. Just like I'm sure you're cut out for all that other stuff.
Wow, the shade that this shade is throwing. Ooh. While Hades, the chat doesn't give a fuck. I'm pretty sure he give a fuck.
Rise and shine.
But I'm not sure what happened to him. Ooh.
I've had these in my head.
What
for
is
long
this?
enough.
Ooh. Okay, we can get nectar. And we can do fated intervention as well. Okay, let's do the kinship fortune.
By light of moon, together let us shape reality.
You have it.
Broker, you've expanded your shop.
Okay,
Could make a lovely gift.
let's do the fated intervention next.
Let's begin. O Daughters of night, who can see all tomorrows, please help me avenge both our families' sorrows.
Oh, okay.
No effect.
It rhymes.
Nothing. They didn't listen.
They didn't listen. You know what? Why not? Reagent
This should
sensing?
help. Hear me, Selene, if you so desire. Aid me in finding that which I require.
Selene Weenie. They made another Dusa? You mean Dora? Wait, where's it? Not exactly Dusa, but Dora. I'm assuming that is Pandora.
Headmistress, I saw him, Kronos. First beyond Erebus in the guise of an old man. He then attempted to ensnare me in some vision out of time. The river aflame, everything ablaze.
That is Asphodel, Melinoe.
Still your heart, Melinoe, you're safe. And you were able to return again, which means that all your training served you well. So then, he realizes who you are.
So he claims. I broke free from his spell like it was second nature, but neither could I raise a hand against him. What must I do now?
Dora the Explorer.
Nothing has changed. You're to confront him down where he resides, where your mother and father rightly ought to be. But go with patience, not with haste. He may know something of your power now, yet not enough.
Yes, Headmistress.
Interesting, interesting. Ooh. Okay, first thing first, let's get the Fate Fabric. Because we have none, and I don't know where to get one.
This one. Take care then.
Nemesis.
Where'd
Oh,
Nemesis go?
there's no Nemesis.
You
Okay.
have this. You look as though you've seen a ghost, if you'll forgive the very antiquated mortal turn of phrase, goddess. So we'd say to someone looking disconcerted. Things all right?
Yes and no. I saw Kronos out there. I thought he had me, but I broke free from his spell. This was in Oceanus, though I also caught him snooping near the pathways out of Erebus.
Damn it. Our reports said nothing of the sort, but then some of our shade informants haven't yet returned. We had expected Kronos to stay put in the lowest reaches. You must have caused enough of a stir to catch his notice.
I've hardly been discreet in my approach. Is there truly no other way?
We reckon not. We're counting on him thinking you're inconsequential to his plans. As for our own, I shall go over this with the good witch. Be safe, and cheers for the report.
Of course. Full bloom.
You're getting sick of Hecate and her lusty abs tongue top. Well, she does have some cut abs. She's strong.
Strength and wisdom of my predecessors.
Okay. Your new Arcana cards require more grasp than you have available, so it cannot be activated yet. You may use the gauge in the top right corner to increase your grasp or deactivate other cards.
I lack the grasp for this.
How to do this? So... Oh, okay. So it requires quite a lot of psyche. And we don't have enough. Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna do anything else for now.
What secrets lie within?
Ooh, Tablet of Peace. Okay, you know what? Let's go with the Sister's Blade. Sister Blades. Why not? It requires only one silver.
Lim and Oros, sister blades. We're fellow
Lim and
sisters now.
Oreos.
Fitting armament.
Whoa, okay,
Here,
this
now watch and
seems...
Get me Stand by, please. I must.
Okay, that seems really fun. Okay, a much more active
Never accept
play
defeat.
play style.
Ready or not, hence I go.
Ready or not, hence I go.
Moonlight.
Oh, hello.
She's deviated from her path. Great Titaness, the Eye of Night, I draw you down. Lend me your might.
Good evening to you, little star. Our cycles now are intertwined, as I no longer can afford merely to watch. Whichever threat we face, I vow to shine for you.
Our cycles are now intertwined. Okay, is this what happened when two girls or women stand close to each other for a very long time? Their period cycle intertwined. Is that it? Oh god. Why? Why do you say that, Selene? You know what? Fine. Let's synchronize our period cycles then. Ooh. Okay, what is the moon phases on the left? Oh, on the right there. Crescent moon glow. This hex has no special bonuses. The sheer might of the moon shall have to suffice. Okay, what is this? Full moon glow. This hex has the most potential. It gains +2 upgrades for your next Path of Stars. Luna Ray, Rachel Ray, Phase Shift. Ooh, your hex makes everything move 80% slower for 5 seconds. Okay, that sounds really good. Okay, let's do Phase Shift then.
Phase shift.
Together we
Okay. even the sound.
You fought beautifully.
Together we shine. Oh my god. Selene. Women are lucky they don't need watches or calendars, just count down from the last cycle. But isn't it some people, some women, they don't have an irregular, they have an irregular cycle, isn't it? So
My reagent sensing incantation took effect.
sometimes that can be a little bit to be a little bit what's the word, inconvenient, huh? Okay, the special is really underwhelming, I have to say. Melting Dart? Your special? Oh, just when I said that the special is not good, huh? Spiral Knife, your specials deal 20% more damage and your special fire ups to 16 shot around you. I'm gonna take Melting Dart. Hell yeah.
The Master Craftsman's gift.
Much more in tune with the mood and the tide. Oh! Okay. Oh! What is
the
this?
river Cocytus winds through endless
Fish.
misty passageways. The wailing souls within its languid waters, all denied their eternal rest.
Reminds me of home.
Aw, come on. I need tools? Okay. Since we are fighting at such a close range. Oh god, which one? Okay, you know what? Let's go see Aphrodite. This one is for the simps out there. Okay, interesting. Interesting, interesting.
This family's not so good at letting go, is it? After eons of prosperity, all that we've built together threatens to come crashing down, all because of a little bad blood.
Aphrodite. You know what? Let's take Flutter Strike. What would you say the difficulty is like compared to Hades 1? Oh god. Oh god, okay. Oh god, I can't. Okay, wait. um, what would I say the difficulty is like compared to Hades 1? Okay. As a viewer, it looks much the same. I have to say though that the game is different in a good way. It doesn't feel the same. Whereas in Hades 1, you are pretty much required to spam your button. Whereas on this game, Hades 2, you are more encouraged to be more calculative of what you do, if that makes sense.
My heart.
Because look at our dashes. I can't spam dash as Hades 1. So Melinoe does require a lot of careful maneuvering. And the weapon itself is also very different.
Let's begin.
Oh, okay. So in Hades 1, that would be... That is gonna be much better, but in Hades 2, I require... I keep forgetting about my specials again. More strategic because she's weaker, because she's a girl. I did not say that. That is your word, not
She
mine.
must have deemed the risk too great. I understand. I'll try to understand.
Oh, Demeter. Just move on. Ooh, Arctic Ring. Your casts repeatedly deal damage in the area and inflict freeze. Hell yeah, I'm gonna take that.
Desolation.
Overall, I feel like it's a different game overall. Because the system that I'm covering right now, I don't know, maybe it's because it's in early access still, but if I remember correctly from the time that I played early access of the original Hades game, there are some things that are not yet what's the word? Not yet polish in terms of its balancing. So in that sense, it does seem similar. For me, that is. There are certain things that feels like it's a little bit unbalanced. Just look at this, the special.
They won't know what hit them. You're just in time.
Woo! You're giving me food? Nice.
Hail, sister.
There you are.
Has my little brother lived up to his shining reputation so far? At least he did his part. As soon as I told him about you, sure enough, he was plenty eager to let all Olympus know.
They got the broad strokes right. Exactly. The basics of it is done, but they need some, I don't know, balancing, I guess. Maybe it's just me very early on in the game, but overall, I feel like the game is in a good direction.
Apollo was very kind, though easy for me to say. I'm not his twin. What'd you tell him anyway?
Only the truth. That I ran into the reclusive Witch of the Crossroads while scouting out our foe, and that she introduced me to a secret Titan killer she's been training up.
You just didn't tell him how long ago that was. So now they really think this long-lost relative of theirs is going to find Kronos and slay him.
Oh, they think you don't stand a chance. But they don't have a lot of options, so they'll support you anyway. Especially since you're family and all. And you know I will.
Interesting. A piercing arrow fires towards any foe damaged by your Omega cast. That sounds cool, so I'm gonna take that.
My strength is yours.
Artemis got a glow up while we yeah, especially Artemis. I did say this previously, but I feel like her art seems a little bit muted in terms of colors. Her hair does not seem as vibrant as the one in Hades 1. I don't know if that is just an artistic style or if that is just an early access thing. I don't know.
For my father. Cold, take you.
Ooh, nice.
Vengeance.
Okay.
Greater might.
Ooh. Arachne, I have something to give you.
Load it. Spinning goes the thread. Warp and waft. My friend.
My friend. Let me give you nectar.
Each time I pass through Erebus, it's comforting to know I may run into you along the way. Here's something for your lovely lair.
Oh, why this is very sweet. It should attract a host of flies.
I
think.
love the
So
character
thank
design
you
for Arachne.
very much. Now won't you please take this? It's only fair.
Oh,
Arachne, this is beautiful.
silken sash. Ooh, okay, so there's also keepsake in this game.
Arachne, the outfit you wove for me was so beautiful. I'm sorry to say I got into a bit of a scrape or two, and I'm afraid it didn't survive.
Oh, that's quite all right, silly. It wasn't made to last. What is? It was made to be in the moment with you. Now here, I've plenty more.
Okay, so which one? Oh, okay, azure dress.
It's all yours.
Oh shit! I just realized that it also changes our dress color as well. Okay, that is a really nice attention to detail there. Okay, interesting. So we have farming simulator, and we have fashion dress up gaming.
Rivals in quality, even the weavings of the gods themselves.
Arachne knows her stuff.
Interesting. Arachne is how Australians see spiders in our home. I can bet that's how it is, huh? How dare you, sir?
I see something for you.
For the cauldron.
Okay, which one? Which one to choose? Let's go with ashes for now. Nice. Ooh, Poseidon. Should I go with Poseidon? Nah. I wonder what other gods. We haven't seen Zeus.
Good evening, boatman.
Oh god, okay. Which one to choose? You know what? Yeah.
All of this tainted gold. You'll see that it's disposed of properly, Lord Charon.
Tainted gold? Oh, right. So the first game is oval, so I guess the second one uses gold?
I long to see that day.
Interesting.
I can take her.
You feel really bad whenever you put a
Prompt as
huntsman
ever.
outside in the cold. Just imagine them with a pink
I'll
bow.
get him, headmistress. I swear it. All that you've
But
taught,
wait,
I'll
isn't
bring to bear.
a huntsman
And no matter the
spiders
obstacles
that
stand in
has
the way,
one of the
Kronos shall fall by
nasty
my hand.
bite venom as well? Oh god, I can't even imagine. Okay, wait, what? All that you thought I'll bring to bear? Oh, so now Melanoe, now you bring out the bear. Do you want to get stuck with a man or a bear?
I require no convincing, Melinoe, although perhaps you do. However much I've taught, what's important is you're a capable student.
I have to be more than that.
Selene tests your will.
Haha. Selene tests my will. She helps me. Okay.
Loaded.
I will not lose my armor at this point. Thank you very much. Fuck, okay. Okay. You just need to be careful. fuck? Okay. Hecate, you ass.
Satisfactory.
Huntsmen don't have any venom
May
or
you
cross
show
issues.
even
They
greater
actually kill all
wrath
the
against the
smaller,
enemies
nasty
awaiting
spiders,
you
but women can
below.
stand having a large spider in the home. So we have to remove our huntsman spider's waifu. Okay, good. That's okay. For me, if they don't have any venom, they can stand in their house. They paint. Uh, they pay their rent by working for us and remove any small insects. It's just that sometimes you have to do some spring cleaning and remove their cobwebs.
The fire-stepping princess stands alone.
I'm so sad that we lose our armor.
You.
You.
You seem to know your way around. I am master of this realm, yet even I would never venture into yonder woods. You even found your way back from your detour in Asphodel.
Damn you, Kronos.
The fates cannot help you now. Stop. 'Tis a pity that this granddaughter of mine is both a weakling and a fool, though an elusive one. I ought to thank the fates that we have met at last.
The fates had nothing to do with this. You took my family.
You took my family.
Our family. Make not their same mistakes, and in time, we surely shall grow past this halted start to our relationship. I shall see you later.
You know, Kronos. Why do you have such a slutty waist? I know you're an old man, but I've never seen an old man that have a waist that tiny. You have a very tiny waist, even compared to Melinoe.
Wait. You.
Interesting, interesting. Okay. Time.
That song again.
Oh god, I forgot. I don't have any magic regen. Okay, let's go with more health. I don't want to die. Oh, run, run.
Breathe it in. Life.
Oh, hello. Another one.
I mean, come on, just... Oh.
Hello?
Yeah. Well, would you look at that? Another would-be suitor journeyed far and wide just to gaze upon me. Not that I blame you. And get totally rejected. Fine. Ogle if you must.
Why does his voice sound so familiar, but I can't put my finger on it? It really sounds familiar, but... What?
You have the wrong idea. I'm not seeking a mate. I don't even know who you are.
What? I'm Narcissus, dummy.
Oh.
The Narcissus. And if you're no would-be suitor, then why don't you relieve me of one of these innumerable gifts the others offered in vain? Then beat it.
Huh, interesting. I'm gonna take the precious metals then. Thank you.
Now you may go.
Mine. Thanks.
Oh, okay, interesting. It's Narcissus.
You're in my way.
Nice.
I accept this message.
Ooh, your Omega attack deals more damage, but requires 10 more magic. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Ice Flourish. Why not?
Interesting.
Karen!
Even the faintest river current in the underworld bears willingly the boatman of the dead, wheresoever he may please.
I'm grateful he made the trip.
Okay, let's get more armor.
Shifted up.
Okay, Arctic Ring leveled up. Let's go get more magic. Because I feel like right now that is mainly our problem right now. Stop spinning! Hello? Ah! I swear.
All right.
Oh, nectar! Give me nectar! You. Nice.
Some nectar.
Some nectar, isn't it? Ooh, okay. Let's go get the pomegranate then. Because we are weak as fuck. Okay. You know what? Fine. Arctic Ring it is. Skilla! Time to meet your doom.
Showtime. I knew it. She's come back. You ready for another show, lady? We've been rehearsing our material, practicing non-stop because one day I'm gonna be a star. Oh, me and the gals.
What do your musical ambitions have to do with unprovoked acts of violence against me?
She's just heckling us gals. Ignore her and take it from the top. 2, 3, 4.
Okay, nice. I'm gonna shut up and so that we can listen to this wonderful song.
We are Skilla and the Sevens.
Oh no. No, 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 no. Okay, she's almost dead. I'm oh god, I'm almost dead as well. Stop. Fuck. No. She's almost dead. Bitch.
Found you at last.
Oh.
Princess of the Underworld. I regret having to contact you at such a time. It's not my custom to intervene during moments of doom, only to observe.
Up.
Moments of doom. You're Lord Moros, emissary of the Three Fates. So your sisters heard me after all.
They expected me to find you, for there's something they intend for you to have. Wherever you're going, look for it when you arrive. I'm uncertain if we'll meet again. Farewell. It's been an honor.
Oh,
wait.
We got the defeated list. Whatever, hunk.
He's gone.
He reminds me of Thanatos. Is he a brother to Thanatos?
I just met Doom Incarnate, Phrynos.
I'm assuming it is.
Excited about that.
The modestly appointed tent of fierce Princess Melenui nonetheless is dutifully organized and immaculately clean.
I won't live in
You
squalor.
have returned.
Dora, couldn't help but notice that my jar collection wasn't sorted properly. I would never store fungus with herbs. Are you trying to subtly drive me mad?
No. Although now that you put it that way, maybe in the future, yes. I was working on minor possessions and your mushroom bottle kind of slipped. So I put it back.
You put it incorrectly back. Just tell me of such things next time, would you?
Maybe I will. Maybe I won't.
Zagreus and Thanatos were too close as brothers.
Is that?
Ooh.
This is from the Three Fates. Prophecy fulfilled.
Prevail in the lowest depth. Family in need, customary gift. Shall give 5 nectar to her comrade. Masterful, mindful craft. Keeper of shadows. Silver pool. Tools of the unseen. Okay, interesting. And it's raining. Oh, hello.
The Elves of Night seek something more from me.
Floral fortune. Exchange plants and other goods for bones at the wretched broker. Gathering of ancient bones. Cost a random main weapon each night to have a grave thirst, granting bones after each location. You know what? Fine, I'll take that.
Headmistress, if I may. If time cannot be stopped, then we shall see. If spill my blood I must, so mote it be.
Ooh.
Mote it be.
So mote it be. I don't know, that seems so funny to me. So mote it be.
Kataskion
Kataski on Oski.
Interesting.
Get out of here, Dora. You will never
So
be
mote
Dusa.
it be.
Hey, don't be jealous of Dora. Why can't we can have both?
The fates indulged you after all. That is their scroll beside your tent. It followed you out of the shadows. Perhaps it can provide some answers.
Would that it does. The fated list has tasked me with ensuring certain minor prophecies are fulfilled, though says little else as yet.
May it reward your efforts at least. But do not expect the fates to always favor you. The bane of our enemy is not necessarily our friend.
I mean, props to the developers for creating such attractive characters. I mean, look at her cut abs. Man, Hecate is not just proficient in witchcraft, she's very proficient in fitness as well. Witch of the Crossroad, more like Witch of the CrossFit. Look at that.
We'll have to take our chances.
She is really, really something. Ooh, pawn shop. Okay, how many? We have one. We have one nectar. Yeah, you know what? No. Nemesis. Nemesis is also
Can't believe
strong.
sucking up to the fates actually worked. That big scroll over there, that's really from them.
Dummy mummy.
Personally delivered by Lord Moros, no less. He seemed a little pressed for time, so we didn't get to talk much. Are the two of you close?
We're children of Nyx. None of us are close. But we crossed paths. When certain mortals get what they deserve, it involves us both.
I can only imagine.
Hey, interesting.
Odysseus on leave.
Look at how far out Hecate's tiny top is. It casts a shadow. She has a huge jug as well. Yeah, that's something, huh?
I have this.
Come on, Mal.
I can do this.
Okay, we don't have enough psyche, but that's okay. Okay, we don't have anything for that, so that's gonna be... Ooh!
My keepsakes.
Gain 20 armor while at least have one, gain 2 after each location. Ooh! Definitely gonna equip that.
She's here. Come on, you slackers, straighten up.
Much deeper than it looks.
Rod of fishing. Oh, okay. So it requires fit fabric as well. So that is the function of it. Okay. Ready or not, hence I go.
A lightning sigil. The king of the gods must have his hands full.
Oh,
recently.
rainfall.
In the
Oh.
name of Hades, Olympus, I accept
Okay, that
this
makes
message.
sense. That the weather is playing a huge role in this. Oh my god.
Emerged from all that gloom to help us settle an old score. If you possess your father's strength, then we have the advantage. Let us strike.
Zeus. Okay, first and foremost, why do you have nipple on your armor? What is the function of that? I mean, if you want to put abs on your armor, that's fine, but why put nipples? Okay, interesting, Zeus, interesting. Ooh, Heaven Flourish, Thunder Sprint, and Ionic Gain. Gradually restore magic, but your total amount is reduced by 70%. That doesn't seem good. So I'm gonna take Heaven Flourish then.
Lord Uncle's Titan killing strength.
Ooh, what is that?
Not even those with the power to enter the crossroads at will can entirely anticipate which of its 3 hidden paths shall be their exit.
I'd not expected this one.
Okay.
Come on. Done here.
Okay, let's go Apollo.
When Artemis first told me your tale, I figured it was just one of her pranks. Taking on the Titan yourself, come on. But it did sound like something a vengeful child of Hades might attempt.
Okay, so Lucid Gain while standing in your cast gradually restore magic. That sounds good, so let's try it. Why not?
More ashes.
Oh, Poseidon! Ooh, do we have any dual boon in this game? Come on, man! My armor! A boon!
Much contact with your father. So when Hades ceased communicating with Olympus, we figured he was back to his old ways. Turns out that old sneak Kronos got him. There was nothing we could do.
Ooh, okay, Wave Strike, epic. Yeah, definitely gonna take that. Ooh, Demeter. I'll take that chance. Nice.
Bright Apollo gathered us and announced that his twin sister, whilst out hunting for our enemies, stumbled upon a long-lost relative with the Witch of the Crossroads. Why, I was overjoyed and furious at once.
Yeah. We get it, Demeter. We get it.
Something there.
Ooh, more mushroom. Don't mind if I do. I'm assuming that the mushroom is a limited item. Or limited resources, I should say.
Some silver.
Oh god. I was I was gasping because I was shocked to see Arachne, but I got I got choked for my own saliva.
It's a death cap.
Ah, it's you.
Saw you get into a scuffle with the great big witch. Why are you fighting? I thought you were on the same side. Oh, I can hardly keep up with everything lately.
Headmistress and I aren't really fighting. Well, no, I suppose we are, except it isn't born of anger or misunderstanding. It's just her way of making certain I'm prepared.
Huh. Well, look, you show her for me the next chance you get, won't you, my friend? And no pressure, but I might be watching just in case. I won't get underfoot, I promise.
Ooh, interesting. You know what? I'm gonna take the lavender dress. Okay, wait. Option. I've never decided to open up this, so yeah, let's try and have a look. Oh, there's music subtitle. Oh, okay, so the next time we fight Skilla and the Siren, we are gonna see the lyrics. Okay, interesting.
Wonderful.
Okay, let's get some bones.
Keep on spinning.
Selene. You know what? That's fine. Let's go. Selene Weenie.
Let us together shine this night, O moon.
Now that Artemis has revealed to Olympus what they need to know of you, she had pretext to return to your woods. But your reunion needed to be brief. Once our troubles have subsided, may we Silver Sisters meet together and rejoice. Behold
Oh
my
shoot!
light.
Moon water. Your hex restore 15 health up to 3 times. Okay, should I take the wolf howl because that sounds really cool. And it's very cheap as well. Ready up to 40 magic. How much magic do we have? We have 70, so... Okay, you know what? I'm gonna take Wolf Howl. Although the moon water sounds very tempting, I have to say. But let's try Wolf Howl first.
Wolf Howl.
Woo!
It is yours.
Ooh, nice. Okay, I'm glad that I take the Wolf Howl because that is really cool.
Adequate.
Hammer time. Ooh, okay. I am definitely gonna take the melting dart again because that is
Further
very
refined.
useful.
Ahead, the underworld princess shall again confront the one who raised her and taught to her the means by which she may prevail.
There's always more to learn.
Compose yourself. A flash of silver.
Lim and Oreos.
So, the sister blades have veiled themselves, do you? The other nocturnal arms shall follow their lead, I expect.
Nyx entrusted them to you to safeguard the realm as a last resort. But this cannot possibly be how they were meant to be used.
And why ever not? To safeguard the realm, you shall have to clear a wide variety of obstacles standing in your way. I am but one. Cross flames burn. Selene smite you.
So Weenie. Steweenie. God damn it. I am not turning into a sheep. No.
So much for that.
Nice. And we didn't lose our
Whilst
armor.
I continue thusly testing you.
Nice.
Outlasted her. Always use more.
Okay, now we just have to survive. Oh, so now you're not showing yourself, bitch.
Going down. The rim of Oceanus. And those spiders get around. Good find. Could make a run for it.
Okay, let's get more health. Just in case we fucked up. Nice.
Got it.
Karen, do you sell any armor? I need help. Yes. Thank you. Up.
A special offer of some sort, my lord. I've returned as much gold as I could, but know full well it isn't easy for you to procure the goods you provide.
Up.
Why, thank you.
A discount card, and I don't even have to fight you?
Redeem this at the crossroads, is that it?
Interesting, interesting.
Olympus, I accept this message.
Okay. Your Omega cast deals more damage and follows you. Ooh, okay, that sounds good.
I see.
Nice. You know what? I'm gonna take the wave strike because that sounds.
Unseal one of the other paths, perhaps. What's in this one?
Wow. Okay. Narcissus. Okay, let's go see Narcissus then.
How'd you get so?
The mirror sheen of the standing waters all about revealed to denizens of Oceanus their full selves, to their horror or to their delight.
This is not a good view.
Excuse me?
Can I give you something, sir?
Exclusive access to Charon's premium wares.
No. You know what? I don't have any
And that's
extra
all, but don't
nectar.
touch, okay? In fact, why don't you stand a little farther back? And also tell me how come you keep showing up like this?
I've some affairs to settle in the lower reaches of the underworld. Thought I'd take this rather scenic route through this chamber of yours.
Oh, it isn't my chamber. I just find the waters here particularly clean and reflective, and far fewer would-be suitors than an asphodel. Remember to take a gift before you go.
Interesting, interesting. So that is healing, and this one is permanent health upgrade. Do we have... Okay, we have enough health, so... Sorry, magic. So let's try with Ancestral Offering then.
Bones for the broker.
Okay, interesting.
Hear me on my authority.
Ooh, okay. Let's get Slip then.
Strength of the sea.
Lucid Gain.
Feeling fine.
You again. Oh, always wanted to sing in front of a great big crowd, you know? And not just a bunch of crusty sailors, but like one of those gigantic amphitheaters they got up on land.
Not my area of expertise. Do performances in these amphitheaters typically involve attempts to drown the members of the audience?
Oh, yeah. And mortals show up to them in massive droves, kicking and screaming just to get a glimpse. Yet you get a show all to yourself.
Wow, Skilla is so bitter. Nice, 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 nice. Okay. Don't get too cocky. I love that the sound sounds so muffled whenever she is in her clam. Whoa! I won! I won! Yes! Yes, I won!
That's quite enough of them. A pearl.
And we got a pearl. Nice, nice. You listen to her on Spotify. Ah, thank goodness we won. And we still have armor. That's very, very
Big
good.
drop.
Oh, hello?
Don't lose your way here, Mel.
Fields of Morning. Morning.
Got here first.
Fuck off,
Hello, Eris.
bitch.
You again. What? Are you concerned my task just isn't difficult enough? Going a bit too swimmingly?
Actually, yes, I was a little worried about that. You got past the sirens. What next? You go kill Kronos, and then what? Come on, babe. Let's not do anything rash.
Okay, Aries.
Death to Kronos.
I don't appreciate this, Eris.
You dress like a clown. I know, right, babe? She definitely
That's more
has.
unusual.
Oh, we have 2 boons. She definitely has something, some feelings for us.
It's all so vast.
Oh god, oh god, oh god. What the f- No, our armor. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna take this.
Where's the last one? A withered bough.
Ooh. A withered bough. Ooh, okay. Okay, okay.
Can't go full blast. I think I can finally go.
Okay. It's either we go see Apollo or should we go see the mirror? You know what? I'm gonna go with Apollo then. Why? Oh my god, I do not know. Ooh, nice.
Venomous fiends. In the name of Hades.
Supernova. Your cars expand in size until they expire. Okay, that's really good.
Not moonlight.
Within the vastly sprawling fields of morning reside countless sorrow-spreading shades, as well as demons
No
that
love for Gift
insatiably
Demeter.
feast upon their misery.
She's our grandmother. Our blood grandmother, Jake.
Giving snakes a bad name while they're at it.
Okay. 35 damage? Oh no.
I've come this far.
Ares. Wow, this place is so big. I'm not sure how to navigate. Oh, okay.
Gone all this way, my lord.
Let's get more health. Hammer, or you know what? Let's go with hammer then.
Be safe, Lord Charon. Corrupted shades.
Where am I supposed to go? Oh, you.
Clarity.
Okay, so that is the end.
Lord Charon will want this. Lycaeans. Back off.
Nice.
And now my claim.
Have you yet come to know Golden Apollo, niece?
Oh.
He's so well known and loved among the mortals that he had no choice but to involve himself in our most recent family affair, bending to mortal pressure like a bow. Ha!
A duo boon?
Come now, Uncle. I don't yield to pressure quite so easily. I just knew this situation would be more than you could handle on your own. We're not just family, we're a team, aren't we?
Beach ball. Your sprint creates a watery sphere behind you, and after you stop, it surges ahead and bursts. Okay, I'm gonna try that.
Where are the other two?
Wait, am I missing something? I feel like I'm missing something. Can we not get out? Oh wow, we are wasting our time, huh? Oh, there we go.
Take it. Lummy eye. More.
Holy crap, we are almost dead. Oof, okay. This is... For each foe you slay it, okay. Hook knives, oh god.
Feels even sturdier.
We still cannot get out, oh my god. Where is it? Okay, there we go. Uh.
Mistakes were made.
Yeah, mine. Okay. Oh god, okay.
This way feels right.
Karen, please, I need help. Oh my god, what is this? No. Don't tell me we have to fight Cerberus.
My lord.
Oh no. Oh no, we have to fight Cerberus, aren't we? Kronos, you monster! Oh fuck.
Hello? No.
Fuck!
Stay. 3 heads. You all.
Ah!
Cerberus, is that you? I'm going to help you, boy. No matter what.
No.
What?
Okay, this is really... Okay, what is going on? What is going on? Hello? Hello? Why are you here? Fuck! What the heck?
Return to Shadow now.
All of your efforts, once again in vain.
You make me fight my own dog? How dare you?
Get out of my head.
Okay, well...
Oh, hey. Dora, don't you pay any attention to what's been happening out there? The rise of the Titan of Time, the siege of Olympus?
Nope. Can't say any of that rings a bell. Olympus, that's where the family members you don't like live, right? And the Titan of Time, I get that he's bad, but he's never done anything to me personally as far as I know, so...
Well, Dora, that's one way to put it.
This entire encampment exists to resist his efforts to overthrow the gods and rule the world?
Well then, maybe I should thank him because I happen to like this encampment.
Oh, shush.
The last wheel of the three fates, those reclusive determiners of all that is to come, is now under the Princess of the Underworld's care.
With their aid, we may have a chance. Another prophecy fulfilled. A prophecy concerning doom.
Hello?
I have to find
The daughter of the
Rose
god
once
of the
again and
dead
call him
shall
here.
some evening summon our feared emissary to her abode. In a flash she shall realize the incantation to achieve this. Ooh. 10 incantation from the Crossroad Cauldron.
You're here, Lord Charon.
Karen?
These shipments shall be very valuable to us. We remain, as ever, in your debt, Charon. May swift Hermes hasten your voyages across the realms, wherever he may be. And until we meet again, shadows conceal you.
Thank you for the supplies, my lord.
Well, now that I see the characters side by side, Malinois is very small, huh? Interesting.
I think I know how I can do the
Definition of the elements. Mournful Husk, Stygian Wells. Ooh, okay. I need 3 Fate Fabric and 1 Nightshade. So, yeah. Huh.
Within the boons of Mount Olympus, I would see their elemental essences, my victory.
Okay, I like that the incantation rhymes with each other.
What now?
Okay, so we need a lot of Nightshade, huh? Mortal. And we need a lot of Fate Fabric.
Farewell. Special order privileges from Lord Charon himself.
Interesting, interesting.
Just checking up on you.
You know what? Yeah, why not?
Trade you.
I don't know how.
A moment, goddess. Word has it Eris has been spotted in the depths along your path. Intelligence you likely could have used before. She made your journey worse for you.
Yeah,
Apologies,
Odysseus, you could have stopped Ares from making my life difficult.
She's trying to stop me, or at least slow me down, and she knows too much about our intentions. What do we do? Children of Nyx are supposed to be on our side.
She doesn't know the half of what we've planned. Besides, her boredom drives her more than anything. Run into her a few more times, she'll soon grow sick of it and go away.
So deems the great tactician.
Aye, goddess.
Okay, okay.
The Arcana.
What? Okay, we can... I want to unlock this, but we don't have any requirement to unlock it because it requires me to activate cards that use 1 to 5. So we have 1, 2. This one is 3. You know what? Fine, I'll unlock it.
The Centaur.
Ooh, your Omega cost has 50%, 50 plus power whenever it detonates. Origination, deal 25% more damage to foes affected with at least 2 curse. Okay, this is definitely going to activate it in the next possible moment when I had the chance to unlock it.
The Arms of Night. The Silver Spade.
Okay, we are definitely gonna need some Nightshade.
It just serves you well. Hold everybody, Silver Sister on deck.
Silver Sisters. Okay, let's do one more run, and then I will
make this count.
Retire for the night. Poseidon.
As you embark on your fateful voyage yet again, my niece, I have something for you. The newfangled boons we offer haven't always swept you off your feet, but we have older, sometimes stronger blessings too.
Ooh, older boons.
Through divination of the
Oh wait,
elements,
what?
I
Elements
see it now.
reveal. You can now see the essence of Olympian's boons. Essence include earth, water, air, and fire, and perhaps more. While these have no innate benefit, Olympians will sometimes offer powerful infusion boons that grow stronger with your elemental essences. Interesting. And what's this? Any minor finds and coins are worth more. This is definitely from the first Hades game. Hydraulic Might, Sunken Treasure, and Ocean Bounty. Let's go with Ocean Bounty, shall we?
A wave of power.
What the fuck? Okay. Sorry. I was surprised Okay, interesting. Sorry for shouting. Wait, what? Oh, Silken Sash increase level. Selene or magic? Yeah, let's go with Selene this time.
I draw you down, O moon. Lend me your light.
We have heard nothing from fleet-footed Hermes since he told us of our enemy's advance. Thus we strike, yet hold to faith that some night hence he shall return to us with news about what else the Titan Kronos has in store. Which suits you?
Night Bloom raises one random slain foes from this encounter to fight for you for 12 seconds. Luna Ray. You know what? Night Bloom. Let's try Night Bloom. Ooh. What the f— Okay. That sucks. We lose our armor so quickly.
You again.
Message for me.
So you're a star student of great Hecate. A little birdie told me she'd been training up a real prodigy. Imagine my surprise when it turned out to be the missing princess of the underworld. How positively scandalous.
Aphrodite, you are so gossipy. Okay, let's take... You know what? Yeah, Flutter Strike is very good with this weapon.
This must be love.
Ooh. You know what? Let's go with Poseidon this time. Oh, hello.
A shadow spiller.
Nice.
Back to the dock with you. Until we meet again.
Flood control, geyser ring. I'm gonna take geyser ring. Why not?
The tides come in.
This.
Ask for my arcana.
Okay, wait. We still need to do.
Look to my light nearby.
Arachne!
The exits are right there.
Arachne, thank God.
Load it. One of those again. Cut. Is it truly you? Why, that's the sash I gave to you.
Yes.
Isn't it so very soft? May it help keep you warm and safe, wherever your journeys may take you. Now, here's a little something to match.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna take the azure dress again. That seems very good.
A perfect fit.
Into the purse.
Come back soon.
Nice.
Enough of this.
Okay, let's...
There. Carefully.
Ooh, okay, we got healing out of that. Interesting. Sometimes there's bombs, sometimes there's healing. Hestia. You know what? No. Melting dart is very good. I love melting dart.
Keenest blades of all. I met one of your brothers, Lord Charon. It was Moros. He delivered to me a certain artifact, but then was gone. Do you know of the fated list? It's been in my family's care before. So, what of Moros? Where could he have gone in all of this? Now for the test.
Malinoe?
Headmistress, I'm concerned Kronos may find us. I first encountered him not far beyond these woods.
There are so many passageways to Erebus. 'Tis exceedingly unlikely he shall find the way. You face a greater risk than that right now. Now the crossed blades! Not a thing.
Are you sure? Because I'm gonna make you regret saying that to me.
Beware. I know that one. Return to fight, sisters.
Oh!
Never used to miss.
Are you... You're making me lose my armor.
Kataskian Aski.
Nice. As you
I shall
should.
see you at the crossroads anon. I shall be catching there my breath.
Victory.
Phew.
He's there.
Oh, you.
You, my girl, are meddling in matters you do not understand. Your father made certain choices. He was bound by them. But you are not. You need not follow in his ruinous path.
Ruinous? You brought ruin to the underworld and the surface. I'll never accept what you've done. Now enough talk.
How very spirited. You truly think you can stop time? Well then, I would like to see you try.
Then watch this.
You. I'm gonna have so much fun smacking you in the mouth when
There's
I
that rancid
find
scent.
you. That is.
Within the sopping, blackest pits of Oceanus reside horrors that the greatest mortal or immortal poets could not possibly describe.
Don't sell yourself short, Homer. Those spells again.
Ooh, the meter, huh? You know what? Fine. Grandma, lend me your strength.
Be gone. That's settled.
We've been locked in conflict with Kronos for so long that we've begun to doubt that anything can meaningfully change. I wonder, Flower, can you truly rid us of this blight?
Sure, I'll try. Rare crop. Oh god. Okay, wait. You know what? Fine, I'm gonna do that.
Cold comfort.
Ooh, okay. No, my armor.
A gift.
Hestia. Yeah, let's go. Hestia.
Hestia.
Where in those bloody depths are you, dearie? Underneath the sea? It's hard to get a blaze a-roaring when there's water all about, but if you can handle the pressure down there, I can bring the heat.
Interesting, interesting. Well, none of this is good, but you know what? Fine, I'm gonna try it just once. Holy, okay, interesting.
Let's try it.
okay, interesting.
Down we go. This isn't your domain. Out with you, servant.
Ooh, fluid gain. Okay, fluid gain is good.
They'll drown.
But what's not good is our health right now. We are so screwed, aren't we?
Golden coins.
Oh god, okay. We are kinda screwed. Not gonna lie. You miss, Melanoe.
Interlopers. What a stench.
Okay, come on. This is not good. This is not good. Okay, Aphrodite. You know what? I'm gonna go see Karen. We are almost dead.
Night protect you, my lord.
Only you could see my fields in the morning sun, shining brighter than any gold you shall ever find. Such metals ought to remain within the earth.
Interesting, interesting. Plentiful forage. Receive 1 mystery seed.
Seeds.
Okay,
An
interesting.
ever-present song compels the nightmare-bringing princess ever forward, towards the beauty, deeper into the abyss.
It's very pretty.
She's back. Oh, good. You're just in time for a set. Been working on a song called I'm Gonna Claw Out Your Eyes Then Drown You to Death. Comes from a real personal place.
Okay, interesting. She's writing a diss track for us.
Is it any better than the one I heard on my way in?
No, it's not, because all our songs are the best. Each like a perfect little child. Not a bad one, like you.
She's really bitter.
You can stay away since every day you keep coming back here. Now it's plain to see you wanna be under the sea with your favorite sirens. You're so obsessed with me.
No! Oh shoot!
Drown you to death. I am gonna
No! Whew. Wow, okay.
A narrow victory, but still.
A narrow, very, very narrow victory. I don't think we're gonna survive. Oof. Oh god.
Time to dry off.
This is really, really tough, isn't it?
It's
Please,
drier here,
no more
at least.
Ares. Please.
Few things to find. Well,
Mortal. Oh god. I'm so lost. You need to stop throwing shit on the floor.
acceptable.
Hestia or Poseidon? Let's go with Hestia. Woo!
They think they caught a live one. sorcery at best.
Thank you.
In the name of Hades.
Ooh. Soot sprint.
All right.
Ooh, hello?
Clear the way.
Who is this gonna be?
Huh. Someone there. Someone there. Someone there.
Oh, Echo!
I mean you no harm. I mean you no harm. You no harm. No harm. That makes two of us. What ails you, Shade? Is there something I could do to ease your burden? I could ease your burden. Your burden. Your burden.
Echo? Well, that's something, huh? We have Narcissus and Echo in the same game? Interesting.
I don't know who you are, but thanks. Thanks.
Okay, let's see if this is good or not. Okay, interesting.
A deep ravine within the fields of mourning spreads forth like a gash across the underworld's heart. And even hateful spirits know to stay away.
Need to keep pushing forward, out of here.
Okay, let's go get the hammer. Oh god, this place is so huge.
Incoming.
What is going on? Holy crap.
Oh, that hurt.
Yeah.
Miasma.
Oh god. Oh god, what is happening? What is happening? Where is the item that I needed?
Something for me.
Go! Go, my dude, go! No!
Return to Shadow now.
Okay, that sucks. Okay, you know what? Yeah.
Not happy.
So am I.
Oof, you look rough. If we're being honest, Mel. Want to talk about it? Or at least tell me the juicy bits because I'm bored?
Last night I visited the mourning fields and, being surrounded by that much despair, think I must have brought some of it home.
Well, why don't I just
scare it out of you, you wretched worm?
Hey, that worked.
I know, right?
Interesting, interesting.
What news?
Kronos was waiting for me again outside of Erebus. This time I recognized him right away, but I could do nothing against him.
Wily bastard. Arrogant to the last. So then, he knows of you. What did he say?
He thanked the fates that we had finally met, as though he'd been searching for me all this time and told me not to make the same mistakes as my family.
Eject that poisoned memory from your mind. He knows nothing of the Fate's designs. I shall reinforce all our protective sorceries, and you fear not your enemy. Slay him.
Slay him.
Our cauldron.
Ooh, I can revive a morning husk. Okay, mournful husk.
Katoski Onoski.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And oh, okay, we only need one nightshade. And we have a ton of this seed, so
Grow strong.
Plenty of room to grow. Got a most troubling report. A sighting in the pathways on the outskirts of Erebus. Did our eyes out there see true?
If it's Kronos that they saw, then yes. Now at least I know what he looks like. But he knows me in turn. Why do you think he let me go? Have we been compromised?
No one gets into the crossroads whom we don't permit, or can even know we're here. Not even him. So he's sniffing around? Fine. He wastes his time whilst you get closer to your mark.
Is he even capable of wasting time?
he is time, isn't he? Interesting.
Broker? Take care then.
Huh. We're getting nowhere. I should be out there fighting, not standing watch over a place nobody comes to uninvited. Damn it.
Nemesis, you're so bitter. Why?
I think the circumstances justify heightened security around here. But if you don't, go take it up with the headmistress, not me. Focus.
Oh, yes, yes. We got origination.
Origination.
Holy crap, there's more?
This is beyond my grasp.
Artificer.
I see it now.
Let's get the origination up. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we are lacking 5. Oh, we don't have enough ashes. Interesting.
Very well.
Okay, so for now, we are gonna...
What are we to do? Merely stand by and let the Titan have his way?
We are gonna call it a day after we talk to Scalamius.
Commander, you once held a place of honor in my father's house, so
Poor
you
Melon.
must know Cerberus. I think I found him in the morning fields, coated in miasma, heads to paws. Was he always prone to uncontrolled fits of rage?
Oh, no, he mostly sat around. We go way back. It's just I kept strategically afar, seeing as he's kind of like a dog and I'm kind of like a bone. So now he's giving you some trouble, huh?
So you are Scally. Why do you change your name to Scalamius?
It's not his fault. Kronos must have cast him from the house and put him out to pasture. But if I can just break through all that grime, I'm certain I can calm him down.
He never did like bears, just so you know.
Should help me gather bones.
Bones. Okay, so I'm just gonna room save. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna call it a day. So, I want to say thank you, special thank you, shout out to, oh god, special shout out to Janissary Jake and Vigor450 for accompanying me on this stream. I really do appreciate it, and yeah, that is Hades 2. There's so many things that we can unlock. So tomorrow we are gonna continue on with Dave the Diver, and we just unlocked a new area, and yeah, we are gonna see whether or not the glacier area is gonna be good or not. But yeah, overall so many things open up in that game, so I still have trouble running the sushi business. But hey, we go with the flow and see whether or not I can improve as I go. So for now, I'm gonna head out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next stream, and have a nice rest of your weekend. Goodbye.